This one's probably gonna get me some hate mail and comments, but here we go anyway. Finding Nemo. The son of an overprotective clownfish gets kidnapped and taken into an aquarium, so Marlin with his forgetful friend Dory sets off to go and rescue him. When you break it down, Finding Nemo is basically a buddy road trip movie, where it's not so much about the characters really as it is about the events that happen along the trip, like with Michael or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And I know a lot of people love this movie, I'm sorry, but personally, I think Finding Nemo's pretty overrated. Now I need to explain that overrated doesn't mean awful. It doesn't even mean bad. I don't know, I have a few issues with this movie. Now, I'm not saying the movie doesn't have funny jokes. I'm just saying that they were funny the first 400 times. Finding Nemo is one of those movies that came out and everyone that saw it thought they were being clever by repeating the jokes over and over and over again. It's kind of like when you heard people in high school quoting the knights who say "knee" from Monty Python. Or nowadays with Lady Gaga on the radio. After the first 5,000 times, you get kind of worn out. You get burned out on it. Pretty much all of my friends when this movie came out had to call everything squishy or talk like whales. And it just got old. There's not a joke that exists in the world that is funny after hearing it 5,000 times. Another problem that I have is Dory in general. And yes, I know she's the comic relief. I know that she's voiced by Ellen DeGeneres and that I should immediately love the character just based on that. Blah blah blah. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm just really not sold on this character, like at all. The movie tells us that she has short-term memory loss. Well, okay, short-term memory loss doesn't mean retarded people. It just means that they're forgetful. And yes, I realize that she's the comic relief and she's just meant to make kids laugh, and that's great. It's great that she gets kids to laugh, but Pixar managed to do that in the other movies without dumbing down to this level. And I mean literally dumbing down. But even still, with the flaws that I do have with the movie, I'll still say with full confidence that the movie is effective. It accomplished what it set out to do. And how do I know this? Because at the end of the movie, I went right up to my dad and gave him a huge hug and told him I loved him. I know, cheesy. But still, that's how you know the movie did something right. Now, from an animation standpoint, Finding Nemo is gorgeous. I love the colors, the way everything flows together. Everything really feels like it's underwater. I don't know if you guys realize, but underwater animation is really hard to do. And the animation really helps to capture the flowing feel of the ocean. This is a movie that's very easy on the eyes. So I'm not saying Finding Nemo is a bad movie, not at all. It did a lot of things right. It just did a few more things wrong for me than it did a few other people. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's still an enjoyable movie. My final thoughts is that Finding Nemo wasn't exactly for me, but I will say that if you haven't seen it, then you definitely should, because I'm a rotten, begrudging bastard with no soul. And you aren't, so you'll probably love it. And for good reason, too.
Hungry.
Don't worry, whales don't eat clownfish, they eat krill.
Oh look, krill!